Faith, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is the complete trust and confidence in something or in someone. Human as we are bound to entrust our faith in the beliefs and principles that we live by. This faith may be tested and tried to unimaginable extents. In the case of Norberto Riego II, a Christian who had given up all his faith to God, had ironically found salvation and strengthened his faith by losing it at some point in his lifetime. Norberto P. Riego II, or Quizbert, as dormers would call him, is the dorm advisor of Woodward Hall in Silliman University. Before settling in Dumaguete City, Bert had spent an ample amount of time riding the roller coaster ride of his tried and tested faith. After graduating in Silliman University with a degree in political science in 1981, Bert went back to Manila, where he is originally from. There he worked as a professional sales representative for a pharmaceutical company for 4 years. Unfortunately, because of a broken heart, he left for the United States of America the first chance he got and continued on from there.
I stayed in the States for 15 years. I was kind of lucky because during that time, my experience here in Silliman taught me how to articulate very well in English. They wouldn't even believe I was a Filipino when I went there because aside from how I talked to them, they said I was too tall to be a Filipino. I brought up my family as a church-going family. There were times when my son was about 3 years old. He would come to our room on Sunday and wake us up and say, we had to go to church. And Sunday, you know, I'm a sports fanatic. Sunday is football day, NFL, National Football League, and that's my time to sit down in front of the TV and watch the games. But if my son says, we have to go to church, we have to go to church. Because I was the one working for the family, I took 2 jobs. I worked as a caregiver at night, and I worked as a warehouse employee in the morning.
Aside from being a caregiver and a warehouse employee, Bert had also experienced working for a printing press, and it was there that he unfortunately lost his 3 fingers.
I worked for a printing press at Corona, California, and at that job I was a paper cutter. I cut long sheets of paper into size. Unfortunately, during a maintenance time when I was trying to change the rubber strip that protects the blade from getting dull, the machine suddenly dropped, the hydraulic press dropped on my fingers. And I won a settlement of $1.5 million. So I lost 3 fingers, and being a left-handed guy, this was a major factor in the decision of the court to give me $500,000 per finger and another $500,000 for my hand.
Bittersweet as it may have been, losing 3 fingers did not prove to be a major hindrance to Bert. He was still able to continue working while living in his new $800,000 home. However, losing his 3 fingers was not the only downhill ride in his roller coaster.
Unfortunately, my wife met an accident. You develop the relationship.
Yeah.
Even though you don't really love her, but as time goes by, you learn how to feel for this person, and then suddenly she gets into an accident and you lose her completely. She was in a coma for 18 months. And after that, 18 months, she woke up, but she was already paralyzed from the neck down. And so she had to be placed in a convalescent home to, someone had to take care of her, and I couldn't because I had to go to work. 18 months is a long time on that machine. Yeah, so you lose your faith. Later on, I just said, there is really no God. I was atheist for about 7 years.
In time, Bert found himself back in the Philippines. And it was then that he received a life-changing intervention.
So there was this one time my sister-in-law brought me to Intramuros, Manila, and that's where Manila Cathedral is, right? The old church in Intramuros. And I went into that church. I have no idea why I went into that church. Up to today, still don't understand why. But now I call it God's plan. I went into that church. I went straight up to the altar. And I started cussing out that cross. I challenged that cross. I said, there's only one thing that will make me come back to you. And I said, today, if you can, take my wife from this earth. Well, she was still in a coma. Yeah, she was in a coma for 7 years. Same time I was an atheist. So funny because I said, today, you have to understand that we're in a different time zone from America. Our today is still there tomorrow. The next day, we receive a telephone call from America saying that my wife died. The Lord answers your prayers when it comes from your heart. And He knew in that church, if you were in that church and you saw me there, you'd probably say, he's a crazy man. So I was cursing that cross. I was challenging that cross to prove to me that He's real. And He proved it. He proved it. It's an experience that I cannot understand up to today, but I'm glad that I came back. Because now I have closure with my wife, and I continued on with my life. Well, after that, 7 years of being, not believing in a God, changes your whole outlook in life. You're number one. If you don't do anything, it's your fault. Unlike if you believe in a God and you have problems, you leave everything to Him and He'll take care of it as long as you believe He'll take care of it. And that's what I do right now.
True enough, Bert moved on with his life after God had answered his plea. After finishing his master's degree, he devoted his time to Silliman Church. And just last year, Silliman University President Dr. Ben Malayang III offered Bert to be the dorm advisor of Dolts Hall.
Yes, Bert, I'm offering you a job as a dorm manager for Dolts Hall. And I want you to make the dorm like a community.
For me, Kuya Bert is the manager that every dorm needs and wants. It's like the best dorm manager that every dorm could ever have.
Bert currently holds Bible studies with various groups around campus and town.
I give it up to Him. And I keep on doing Bible studies. Right now I have Bible studies with the men of the church. I have Bible studies with the security guards of this campus. I have Bible studies with the jail people here, the provincial jail, every Sunday. And I keep doing it and doing it. And somehow the Lord just keeps supplying me. I don't ask Him for anything. And He still keeps giving it to me.
Reverend Arnel Falier, ordained minister of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, and a faculty member in the Divinity School in Silliman University, also has his personal thoughts on losing and regaining faith.
Well, there are two pictures here. Some people come back because they feel the need to be identified in a community where they experience love, encouragement, and sense of belongingness, which the church provides. In other picture, they see that in order to find the meaning of their life, they should have a venue where they can share themselves in the general ministry of the church, which is an expression of their faith. It would be more meaningful if they can put it together in response to the call of faith.
There's this thing I keep sharing with the boys here in the dorms. My favorite verse, it's Galatians 6:7. Do not be fooled, do not be a fool, God cannot be mocked. You will reap what you sow.
Bert is reaping what he is continuing to sow. Though he temporarily lost his faith, Bert was shook by God's immediate intervention. With this, he found his faith and learned that if we should desire something, then we should go ahead and ask the Lord, especially if we knew what our hearts really plead for. I am Claire Tubil, and this is Silliman Documentaries.